Right. We're gonna get started. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, cool. So we'll just get started then. Um, so this is our seventh class, and this class we're gonna go over endgames and key activity. So I'm Joshua Ming, and I'll be the teacher for today, and then the teaching assistant will be Alan. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so this is just review from last time. Last time I believe y'all did material. So, oh, cut off a little bit. So here we have this position, right? And you have to choose what's the best move here. So, please just type in the chat, the notation, and why is it the best move. All right, yeah. So you got a couple answers, and they're both correct. So here you would t go f takes g2, or use your pawn to take the queen. And here obviously black can take a pawn, a bishop, and a queen. And of course, out of all of those, we learned last week that the queen is worth the most. And so if we're able to take the queen, then generally we should do it if there aren't any better moves. So here the answer is pawn takes g2, which most of y'all got. So here we have another position, but now we have to decide which pawn we are able to take. So we can take the d5 pawn with the knight or the b5 pawn with the knight. So try to figure out which one is better and why. Yeah, okay. So most of y'all got it correct. The correct answer is knight takes b5. And though you are attacking the queen, that's not necessarily why that it's correct. So board. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So here, correct move is knight takes b5. But the issue with the other move, knight takes d5, is that here black has or white has this move queen a1 or sorry queen a8, and this is a double attack because you are checking the king as well as threatening to take the knight. So now black has to block. So let's say it goes bishop f8, and then now white can take this knight. And then if you look from the beginning, black took a pawn and in return lost a knight. So as we learned last week, that's 3 points for 1 point, which is not ideal. And here after knight takes b5, let's say white goes queen a8, then bishop f8, and then now white doesn't really have much. Black's just up a clean pawn, and will likely go on to win the game. All right, so that's that puzzle. And then let's look at our next one. Okay, so here we have pretty complicated position. Um, we can take the rook, but is it the best move, or are there any better moves? And that's up to you to decide. So, if it's knight takes g1, then write the variation that you see and why is it good. And if it's not good, then provide another move and explain why it's better. Okay, to those that are saying queen h2 check, what happens if I go knight takes h2? Yeah, so y'all all got it right. The correct move is queen h2 check, knight takes h2, and knight g3 checkmate. Let's, all right. So here we have some position, right? And obviously after knight takes g1, or oh, sorry. After knight takes g1, then this is obviously not good because the knight can just take her queen. So you always have to look at all of your opponent's pieces and what they're threatening to do. So here obviously it's a nice smother mate tactic where we go check, knight takes, and knight g6. I set the board up wrong, but yeah. And then the king has nowhere to go. So a pretty nice smother mate tactic. And that concludes our review of last week. So this week we're going over endgames. So, as y'all have already learned about openings and middle games, endgames is like the final stage of a chess match. So this is after you've already traded queens and the game's like about to end. But obviously, um, there are less pieces, but it can be just as complex. So, in endgames, like I said, the queens are usually gone. So, yeah, it's not as complex, but here the rooks, bishops, knights, pawns, and even the king become even more important, as we'll see later. So here, this is where pawn structure really matters, which is like probably a more advanced term, but where your pawns are placed and how much space you have in position. Like, how far advanced are your pawns? Are your pawns on good spaces? How many pawn islands? And how active your pieces are in general. In endgames, you want to be you want your pieces to be as active as possible. And that's generally the key to doing good in endgames. So, this lesson will mainly focus on king activity and king plus queen and king plus rook checkmates, as well as introducing the opposition. So here we're going to start with king activity, and king activity is extremely important in the end game. So to demonstrate this, we have this position, right? The white pawns are moving up, and the black pawns are moving down the board. So just take a guess who is winning, and if you do know who's winning, then why are they winning? Yeah, so a little disagreement here. Um, so the correct answer for this is actually white. So even though black's pawns are more black has more material, black has three pawns versus white's one pawn. White's king is much more active than the black king and can defend the black's passed pawns better. So let's look at how that's possible. So here we have the position, right? So let's say white has many ways I think to win, but say white just pushes h4 and then black pushes a4. So here we have to do a little bit of calculation. So let's say we keep on pushing and then black keeps on pushing. Who's going to reach first? So if we calculate this, black will obviously reach first. And then after white queens, black can take your queen. So here, that obviously won't work. So after a4, what can we do? So we can take advantage of our pretty active king and go king d3. I believe king d3 or king d4 work as well. But for this purpose, we can go king d3. And now if black tries to push a3, we go king c3. So note again that if you keep on pushing, this is lost as well. So you have to try to use your king to catch the pawn. So you go king c3, and then let's say black goes something like b5. So now we calculate once again. So we go h5. And now if black goes a2, hoping that white will continue pushing the pawn, uh, then they'll be able to promote and they'll be winning. But unfortunately for black, white can just go king b2, which is just protecting the square, and then uh, white will go on to win. So after b5, we go h5, and then black goes b4. So this is a little bit tricky. So obviously, we want to take the pawn if we can, but we can't take the pawn. Why is that? Because if the king takes b4, now black can go a2, and then the king can't chase down the pawn in time. So here we have to go king b3, not allowing black to move the pawn any further. Because then we can just take, and then no matter what black does, we push our pawn, and then we are winning. All right, so continues. Let's say go a5, and then h6, a4 check, and then we go king a2. Once again, if you take here, then a2, and then we are lost. So king a2, and let's say black just moves his king. Then we go h7, and then there's no way black will ever be able to come back from this game. So I think this example is pretty good because it shows that uh, white's one pawn can dominate black's three pawns just because the king is better placed. So that shows how important the king is in endgames. And now we're gonna go over some basic checkmates. So here, let's say you're in a position where you've been like crushing your opponent this entire game, right? And then you got into the end game, and then still crushing them, and then you end up into a position where you just have your king and queen versus black's one king. So all the pawns are gone, all of the other pieces are gone, and now you have to win this by yourself. So it's a pretty simple way to win this. So use what you call the box method, and you always make sure, or when you use the box method, always make sure the opposing king is not in the corner, so you do not stalemate them. So we're gonna illustrate this. Um, so here we have classic position, um, with the king plus queen versus king checkmate. So let's say black moves first, king c6, and then the queen keeps on boxing the king in with queen e5. So you can see as the king keeps on moving, we keep this kind of like this relationship with the king. So the box keeps on getting smaller and smaller. So black continues king c7, queen e6, king b7, queen d6, king a7, queen c6. So we're still maintaining this kind of relationship with the king. So now they go king b8, and then queen d7, still maintaining this relationship. And then now black goes king a8. And here's where you have to be careful. Because now if you keep on like maintaining that relationship with the king, then this is what is called stalemate. So, and that's just a draw, right? So we obviously don't want that because we're in a completely winning position. So now after we've made reached this position, now we have to bring our king in because the queen can't checkmate the king by itself. It always needs some other pieces. So here we bring in the king d2, and then now black does not have any moves to play anymore. So just keep on moving here. And then here we have checkmate. There's a variety of different checkmates here, but obviously it doesn't matter how you checkmate. A win is a win. So yeah, any questions about how to checkmate with a king and queen? All right. Yeah, so it's pretty simple. I'd recommend practicing it if you are a little bit confused. But yeah, we're gonna do just a little practice. Um, so here we have this king this exercise. So do any of one of y'all want to play me here? So y'all be white, and then if you can checkmate me, then you get a pat on the back. Okay, let's see. Let's have Mr. Wen Zhongwei play me here. Okay, so you can just type in the move in the chat, and then I'll play on the board. It doesn't matter private chat or everyone. Okay, so he goes queen f2. I go king d3. Queen e1. Okay. I go king d4. Queen e6. Okay, c. I go king c5. King e7. Okay, go king c4. Okay, queen d6. Say I go king b5. Queen c7. Go king e4. Queen c6. b3. Queen c5. King b2. Queen c4. King b1. Okay, queen c3. King a2. Queen b4. King a1. Yeah, nice. King g2. King a2. Uh, King f2, I'm assuming, and then king a1. King e2. King a2. King d2. King a1. King c2. King a2. Yeah, and then queen a4, and that is checkmate. Yeah, it's pretty textbook, and yeah, there's really nothing wrong with it at all. Nice. Um, yeah, Mr. Wenjong did, he went King G2 after here. It's important to not go Queen B3, which I'm sure that he saw. And yeah, that's essentially what the King and Queen checkmate is. Um, let's um let's do one more person, I guess, because we have enough time. So would anyone else like to try? Okay, let's have uh Pei Shen, I think. Let's do another position. Let's go let's go Queen here, Queen here, and then King's here. All right. Okay. So white to move here. And where do you go? Okay. Queen F. Oh well, Queen F1's here, right? So you mean Queen F8? Maybe. Um, Mr. Patient. Okay. Um, Maybe he's gone. So okay, let's find someone new then. Um, okay. How about John Ray? So okay. You have to type the moves in the chat. Okay, whatever. We'll just go Katie then, I guess. So where do you go? Okay, Queen F8. I go King D5. Okay, Queen F6. King E4. King H6. King D5. King G5. Go King E4. King G4. Okay, I go King D5. Queen F3. King D4. 5. King C5. Your queen's already on F3. Okay. Okay, queen E3, king D5, queen D3, king C5, king B5, king 6, queen D4, king C7, queen D5, queen 6, king D6, queen 7, C5, king D7, queen B5, say king C8, queen A6, king D8, king D7. That is stalemate. Yeah, so kind of brought in your king a little bit early. Um, I'd recommend first setting up uh what's it called? It's like this position where the queen and the king are like this. So you can't really screw that up. Or like stalemate is like kind of impossible. Um, so yeah, you always have to be a little bit careful about like these positions. So whenever you move, um, just think about what your opponent could do, and after this move, um, your opponent can't actually do anything. So that's stalemate. But yeah, before that, a little bit unconventional, but it works. So yeah, I mean it's a checkmate. There's always going to be a lot of different ways to do it. Um, but I feel like box method is just a much like simpler way to learn it. Okay, so I feel like that's good enough for this. If you have more time, we can go back if you want. All right, so that's king and queen versus king checkmate, and now we're gonna go over king and queen or king and rook versus king. So this is a little bit trickier, because first off, the rook is obviously isn't as powerful of a piece as the queen, and it takes a little bit more thinking, I guess, when you are trying to checkmate with a rook and king. Though it is possible, unlike the king and knight and king and bishop versus king. So main ideas here is use what we call opposition, use waiting moves, which are moves that essentially spend time giving the move to your opponent. So let's say it's currently your move, and but you play a waiting move. Um, so now the move essentially is black's, and you basically do nothing that's like helping you, I guess. So we're gonna show that here in this example. All right. So here we have a king and rook versus king position, and yeah. So okay. I should probably explain this. So, when I say use opposition, this is what I mean by opposition. So it's when two kings face each other, separated by an odd number of squares. So as we look at the diagram on the left, there's one square separating the black king and the white king. So there's an opposition there. And the player who does not move has the opposition. So let's say it's black's move, then white has the opposition. And if it's white's move, then black has the opposition. And then there's a more like advanced term, but right now you won't really need to know it. It's called distant opposition, and there's three spaces between the white king and the black king. So yeah, that is opposition. And then now you can come back to here. So here, it's currently white's move, so technically black has the opposition. But what's important about this king and rook versus king checkmate is to always maintain this relationship with the king with the both kings. So this is important because then we are allowed to go rook h5 here. Because the king can't move anywhere like this because our king is covering that. So we keep on. So this is our current box, right? And then after we go rook h5, black is forced to move back. And then now we have an even smaller box, right? So we keep on closing this box until black's king is on the last rank. So let's say we go like king d4, king f6, and then you always want to make sure to not move your rook away from here. So let's say you go rook h1 or something, and now the box is back open again, right? So you generally never want to move your rook. If you do have to move your rook, then you move it where the box is kept the same size. So let's say he goes king f6, we go king e4, and then black goes king g6, and it's important to not go king f4 because then we just lose our rook, right? So we move our rook to the other side, and then black goes king f6. So here, if we keep on chasing the king, then black has or then it's black's move, and black can kind of run away, and we'll never make any progress. So here we use what's called a waiting move. So we go rook b5, and then now the move is given to black. So now if black goes king e6, then we go rook b6 check. And then once again, this is the same thing. Black's king can't move forward, so black has to fall back. And then now the box is smaller. So we continue here. And then once again, king is attacking our rook, so we must move it. And then we do another waiting move. Rook g6, king c7, and then keep on chasing the king. King b5, king b7, and then now we go rook g7. So again, this relationship. And then now black's king is on the last ring. So this is where the mate actually happens. So we go king b6, king d8. This is kind of the same thing. Just keep on chasing the king. And then now he's attacking our rook, so we move it to the other side. King g8, king d6, or king e6, sorry, king h8, king f6, king g8, and once again, if we try to keep on maintaining this here, then black can kind of just run away, and we'll never have anything. So here we use a waiting move, rook b7, or rook b7, rook c7, rook d7, they're all the same thing. But for this example's sake, go rook b7. And then now, let's say black goes king f8, then rook b8 is finally checkmate, and black cannot move backwards anymore. And so yeah, it's checkmate. If black goes king h8, then keep on going king g6, and then now black's forced to go king g8, and then rook b8 is checkmate. So yeah, a little bit more complicated, but it's not too bad once you learn it. So let's see. Let's do a little practice. So okay. So let's say rook is here, king here, and then black's king is here. So white's here. So would anyone like to try? All right, let's have Tina. So it's white to move, so you can just type in your move in the chat. Okay, king h7, king f5, rook g6, king f4, king h6, king f5, g5, king f6, h5, king f7, rook f5, 6, king g5, king 7, king g6, king 6, rook f8, king, I'll go king e5, e8, king 4, king 6, king g4, Oh, rook e4, sorry. Four. T3. H4. G3. A4. E3. E5. G3. King 4. King G3. Or King G4. E5. King G5. Okay, rook A5. King G4. A4. G5. E6. King G6. D4. G5. Okay, I think we're not really in the right direction here. So, I'm not really too sure what you're doing. I think, for example, like here, you could have went rook g4, and then I would have went like king h5 or something, and then it would have only been like probably a few more moves before checkmate, right? I feel like we're kind of just making moves for the sake of making moves. And in the end game, the amount of moves you have is pretty important, right? Because I don't know if y'all learned about this rule called the 50 move rule, where if you make 50 moves without capturing anything, um, then that's an automatic draw, right? So here, if we probably continued on, we probably would have continued for maybe another 20 moves. And then that would have been a draw. So, yeah, like I said, just kind of just follow this like rule-ish. So this is kind of a tricky starting position, right? The main point is you want to get your king out first, um, to be able to keep this relationship. right? So yeah, I mean, it started out fine, but I feel like focusing on checking more than like improving your position, for example. But yeah, that's definitely with practice it'll be okay. So I think that's all we have time for. So yeah, practice. And then actually we could probably do one more. Let's do uh let's try another one. I'll do an easier position, so hopefully one of y'all will get it. Let's put the rook here, 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 and here. And then it is white to move. Does anyone want to try? Okay, let's have Iha 30319 try. Okay, so it's white to move. Just send the move in the chat. That's okay. Oh, can y'all see my screen? Oh, okay. Okay, Iha, do you have a move? Okay, if not, then we can find someone else. Okay, how about okay, Katie, sure. Oh, King 3B. Um, that's unfortunately, I guess you mean King B3, but then obviously I would just take your rook, and that's just a draw. Okay, Katie, do you have a move? Okay, yeah, King D3, good move. King C5, good. King D5, King D4, anything after King B4? Okay, King D2, King C4, D4, King D5, King E3, back to our starting position. C5, C3, King D5, 3, King C5, Rook e7. Okay, so for time's sake, we're just gonna stop here. Um, so yeah, it's kind of not really like uh incorrect, I guess, but it's kind of felt like once again you're just making moves to make moves. There isn't really like clear plan, I felt like. So for example, from the starting position, what probably would have been a good move here, King d3 is obviously a good move, King c5, and then maybe something like Rook h4, kind of giving the move to black. And if black went King d5, then Rook h5, and then like we saw last time, this pattern will continue, and then eventually the king will reach the back rank. So yeah, I think if you just practice a little bit on this, then it's good. So here's your homework. So chess.com actually has a really good feature here, um, which is the Endgames feature. So you go to learn, or sorry, train, and then Endgames, and then here you click on checkmates. And then today we learned queen mate as well as rook mate. Um, yeah, so you learn queen mate as well as rook mate. So whichever one you
How do
feel
you
more
practice
comfortable with.
it?
Sorry, what?
How do we press to there?
So you hover over train, or you have to have a chess.com account first.
I don't think I have a train.
Hmm. Um, I'm not too sure then. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe you can search up chess.com endgames, and then leads you to the same place. Right, okay, so we have checkmates, and then you can go to queen mate, and then you can just practice here, mating with uh queens, right? And then you could do the same thing with rook. And yeah, it's just good practice. So please do three endgame or practice king plus queen mate once, and then also do our three endgame puzzles, which I'll send out to the I think Weech or to your parents. And then uh these are the three puzzles. For this one, there's a couple different ways to win, but there's a faster way to win. So a little bit of calculation, but it's nothing too hard. Um, and then here you have another puzzle. It's white to move and white mates in two. So there's a couple of different answers for this one, which all work. They're all the same. So yeah, that's that one. And then this one is white to move and white mates in three. So this one, I believe there's only one way to win here. So, yeah, make sure you do one king plus queen mate, and then do the three endgame puzzles before next class. So, this concludes our class. Does anyone have any questions?
How do you sign up?
I think you just need like your email and to make a password. Okay, wait. So apparently you need premium, I guess, to do endgames, which I did
That
not know. But you could always just search up king and queen checkmate practice, I guess, and then Lee Chess also has good practice with this. And Lee Chess for sure is free. So yeah.
okay.
About the homework, I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure wait, give me Okay, yeah. So make sure to send the homework to the WeChat group, and then the next lesson we'll go over that as well. So yeah, thank you all for joining. Thank you to Alan for being the assistant today, and I hope y'all all have a great Easter and a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.